Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we're going to break down what we normally do on Tuesday, right? The stock market, the dollar, the Russell, the Nasdaq, the S&P. We had the PPI data released this morning, but if you notice, if you looked at volume at all, options, contracts, it was very, very much overshadowed by GameStop and AMC today. So the meme movement still becomes a thing, and I wanted to break down. If you watched my video yesterday, I'm live on Power Zone Trading and Don Fran Trading. If you saw yesterday, I don't think I was on all the channels. I think I was just on Don Fran Trading. I talked about GameStop and my plays in it, right? So I had bought shares at $28. We're gonna get to that in a second, and then I'd sold the 28 strike call against it. But then I bought this put against it, or sorry, this call later, turning that into a spread. Also, I had the shares. So, I could just have shares and a covered call and then a naked call. I could have a bearish call spread with a bunch of shares. And I did it specifically that way in case it just sends it, after hours pre-market, I could actually lock in those shares and just ride this $2 spread, and call it a day. So that's why I did that, and specifically, it played out perfectly because coming into pre-market, I actually told you guys yesterday I had that plan because after hours I was going to lock it in, but I had missed that. I was like, I missed it. We'll see where it's at in the morning. And then it was up and it went for it. And you might think, man, that probably played out really well. And I did make a bunch of money today. I made a lot of money. But, but, you want to know where I sold this thing at? Right there. So from 28 bucks to 48, 47, it was right at the 48, whatever the pennies were. That's where I saw. I think, man, a move's probably coming. We're about to wake things up. And then I sold the shares. And then I saw that. And I was like, are you kidding me? And I don't get FOMO a lot, but I'm thinking the timing of this. Had I been asleep, had I just been distracted, had I got allergies and just started sneezing a bunch, that would have actually made me thousands. Because it's pre-market, I can't trail it like I normally do. I'm just watching, like, there would have been another 1,000, there would have been another 1,000, there would have been another 1,000. I only had 100 shares at the time. I'm thinking, man, this sucks. But when you buy 50,000 shares, that's still a nice little profit. It was nice. It was still a good profit. Made it for my SQQQ position. We'll get into it in a little bit. All right, so next position. It dropped back down. And I ended up buying so what I bought was a 54. I bought back in shares, sold a 55 strike call against it. And then that ended up being $1,400. And when it sold off, I had bought the 54 strike call. So I ended up doing that quite a few times inside of this thing right here. So I have 3 total. So I got paid like $30 to be in $1 spreads. They're 54, 55s. And I'd lock the shares in after I did that. Again, it would pop back up. It's like, $500. I'll lock it in. So we called it a day there. And if you guys don't know what I was doing on this, it's something. If you watch my PDT hack rule, it's not on Power Zone Trading. It's on my other channel. So if you're on that channel, just make sure you hit up Don Fran Trading. You'll see quite a bit more. But essentially, think money out versus money in. I'm buying the 54 strike call for $1,400, and then I'm selling the 55, collecting sometimes 1425, 1450, and I want to say 1410. So what I have there is bought the 54, sold the 55s. I got paid to be in a $1 wide spread, bullish play. Which right now, if we expired at 55 or higher, 100%, so I'll make $100. Now, if it melts down off into the abyss, I still made whatever money I collected on that. I either make a little bit or I make quite a bit more. And then, despite my chat warning me against it, I had sold a 35 strike put for this week, this Friday. I collected just shy of 400 bucks on that. And then when this broke down, I got back in. I got back in at 37.11 right before one of the mini halts it had, and I'm still in those shares. And in fact, it had hung out right around here, so I added on at 42. So my average cost on these shares now is like 38 something. So full send. I still have the naked calls. So I have the call spreads. One of them is naked. So bunch of spreads, 54, 55, one naked. I had set a sell order on the 55. It just didn't fill. There's the PDT hack video. Appreciate that. So if you're actually looking in the live chat, if you're watching this recorded, click live chat. That is my other channel, PDT hack. It's a way to lock in profits without actually taking a day trade. So a lot of people do this in my group that are under the $25,000 mark, but also it's a way to kind of lock in an options contract, lock in some profits, but still get that cherry on the top. So still in the share, still a naked call, sent it, and then after hours push up. Right now, currently we're selling off. Remember, for these to be profitable or to make money, I need them at 55 and higher. So we'll see how we close, what we do pre-market tomorrow. The thing is, and what made me actually, so yesterday's video I talked about Vega, why these options contracts were actually kind of crazy and they didn't make sense at the time. At the money contract was 600 bucks for a $28 strike, and then you could go $10 in the money, $10, which should be another $10 on that options contract. It was an extra 200-300 bucks. Didn't make sense. The options world was not pricing this in. However, Vegas said, if you're here, you got to pay to play. And I know the GameStop group, and what I was thinking was the GameStop group, they're not going to be here for one day. Vegas going to be here for a little bit, which actually made me feel a little bit better about getting in the strikes that I did, the plays that I made, because worst case scenario, always worst case scenario, I sell, I take a loss. But this capital I have tied up in this does not affect my other trades, doesn't affect anything. Go to zero, can make $1 million, doesn't matter. There are other trades to take, and I have other capital for it. So it's not in the way of anything. So worst case scenario, we sell off. I have 100 shares, well, a little over 100 shares now. But when we were talking in main chat earlier, I had 100 shares plus a put that I had sold right at that 35, 37 mark. So I what, a couple hundred shares? Big deal. If Vega keeps things up the way they are, I'll be able to sell just probably at the money contracts, wherever we're at, out of the money. And I'll be able to just take huge hits on that average cost, possibly even have something to just keep for the whole next run. GameStop, when everybody pours in like this, man, it brings Vega up. It juices the options contracts, which is why a lot of people, they just lose a lot of money playing this while everyone else, it seems like everyone's making money and you just watch, you're going to be the only one that loses money. That's what it's going to feel like. But I figured Vegas here, let's send it. Let's take advantage. Again, that's where you become the slot machine, not the person sitting at the slot machine. So that was kind of like my worst case scenario. And I had to manage this trade. In breaking down the markets, there's not going to be much to break down when we break down the futures. Yeah, we had PPI data. And we're about to hit all-time highs, which is ridiculous because especially if you saw my video the other day of I'm short this market. Still am. Ridiculous. I even told my chat today drugs would have been cheaper. It would have just been better. Shorting the market's dumb. I even said that in the video the other day with the title saying I'm short the market. Told you guys it was crazy, but had a gut feeling, and it's panning out. So what did you do with the covered call you had at 28? Right here, I still have these. So and the reason why I have that is because that's a bearish spread, right? So I actually forgot my numbers on this as far as I don't think I got paid to be in this one. Maybe I did. It's going to be nothing is what it's going to end up equating to. But let's say I take full max loss on this and I didn't do anything. That would still be a $200 loss. With what I made today, going to be just fine. That's why I did it the way I did, so I can lock that in. What I kind of thought about doing was I'll buy the extra 100 shares, lock in this contract, and ride this one back down. You're getting into the options gymnastics, but it's a lot of just mental gymnastics and money and buckets. And then when you mix that with execution, you can come out smelling like a rose and you just nailed every one of them. But because we were holding and pushed too high, I figure I'm going to leave that abandoned. That'll be the full $200 loss. Where do I think it's going to go? If you don't have an options account nor margin account, is it worth getting in non-margin with some shares? It's a lot of margin comments there. Um, is it worth getting in some shares? It's a good question. Someone on Facebook today asked that same question, and the reply someone said was, "Yeah, but only get 20 shares. Any more, and it'll drive you crazy." I'm thinking, you have no idea how big this guy's account is. You have nothing. 20 shares, I wouldn't even look at my phone if it moved. It would have to move to $300 for me to think this is even something. Which is, it just reminds me, and no offense to everybody, when I see the GameStop crowd, there's just a lot of people that know nothing about the markets. And for people that have experienced, you guys don't know how ridiculous you sound because you don't know what you don't know. And I think that's probably how I offended a lot of people the last time this thing happened. Um, I literally bought 20 shares, just non-leveraged shares. Let's say 2K cash account. Um, yeah, I mean, there's some fundamental things to what you're asking right now that I feel like I have to go over. One, understanding just margin in general. Um, and how things can pan out. This thing is moving. Shares are moving like an options contract would. This thing is moving around. I mean, it was $28 yesterday. Today it went to 80. You don't need options contracts. Right now, options contracts probably aren't the way to go. You have to pay to play. It's going to cost a lot. It's not going to move that much compared to some other things. I could take that same capital, buy some call options in a different stock, and probably make quite a bit more. The shares, I think, are probably better. You can manage it after hours. You can stop out. You can play the in and out game a little bit easier. So more importantly, not where do I think it's going to. Right now, it looks like a momentum ticker, and I'm waiting to see tomorrow if we push pre-market again and break this. Man, I don't know where that stop is going to be. What I'm looking out for is it going to make lower lows? Um, Shares, you can manage that a lot easier. What I would say is imagine you put your 2K worth right there. Now you didn't know those candles were going to be red, but you bought it at $70 because someone told you to. And then it drops from $70 to $50. Can you take that kind of hit without passing out? Would you just emotionally sell at the bottom? Would you be selling me your shares? Or is 2000 your whole account, or is 2000 like what I'm in? Nothing. This whole trade, thousands that I've made, cost me $2,800 because I bought 100 shares at $28. So you don't need a lot to make a decent chunk. And when you're playing in the game of momentum stocks, anyway, this is the name of the game. It is the most expensive game of hot potato you're going to play. And what will make or break you is if that potato blew up in your face or not. So to answer your question, you have to ask yourself, if I put this 2K in, worst case scenario happens. We gap down, we gap up. How do I manage it? What are you going to do? And I would make that plan off of we're headed back down to $30 play. Um, as of right now, seems like we're just going full bore. There's no real way to predict this one. This zone I have right here, even though it looks like it played out just fine, I grabbed it from back here. Just where's the bulk of where's some resistance at? Even then, I wouldn't be going after this as zone trades. I do want to trade chart one more thing out. When it comes to momentum tickers, yeah, oh, be careful. I get you. It's just a ride or die play right now. Yep, and that's what I even told my chat last night is this thing could go to zero. Okay, that's I usually risk about $2,000 per trade, and I'd spent $2,800. I also collected $600 on a contract, so my worst case scenario was about $2,200. That's assuming it went to zero, and that's what I was prepared for. Had I known it was going to do something like this, yeah, you'd have seen me in Wall Street bets saying a bunch of stupid stuff. But no one knows that. When it comes to momentum, it's a tough one to predict. All I can tell you is there's probably going to be a big candle coming up, green or red. You Pick whatever you feel. A lot of people are buying puts today. That was absolute insanity. I saw that. How expensive these contracts are, it just does not make sense to do that right now. Um, I mean, you probably made money if you bought like a 70 strike put and this candle happened. Yeah. But if you don't have a candle of that size, you have a red candle like these down here, it probably doesn't matter what put you bought. The amount you put up versus what you're probably going to take away from that, if it's a green trade, very risky. Um, Definitely. I will say this: when it comes to momentum tickers like this, in this scenario, the last thing I would want to do is short this thing. And I told this to my group last night. You're either on this train or you're not. And what I meant to say is you're probably on the bull train or you're just not trading it. Jumping on this track and trying to short this thing, short it shares. I guess if you buy puts, best of luck. But it, the people got screwed over last time. Real institutions got screwed over. It's not going to happen again. And I was joking with my chat this morning that it'd be funny this time if this is Citadel buying it all up. You know, uh, Roaring Kitty, he tweets or posts something on X. Citadel just starts buying it up. Buying it up. So everybody thinks it's from his Twitter account, which is just posting random videos. The guy could be in an absolute coma, just a giant car accident. He's just posting his favorite videos he found online. And we're over here making financial decisions off that. But Citadel is just buying this all up so everybody thinks it's him, and then they just dump it on retail. If you're petty enough, that's a very doable thing. And I would be prepared for that scenario right now. Who's leading you on? And how are they going to leave you with the bag? How heavy is that bag going to be before you just drop it anyway? Hopefully tomorrow's a green day. Yeah, hopefully. I would like to make money. I don't actually buy things hoping they go down, which always cracks me up when I buy something and someone's like, hey, you think it's going to go up? Like, nah, I just felt like donating money to someone else's account. Why Citadel? Oh, I was just saying, just in general, a market making firm. I know Citadel got a lot of heat last time because of the order flow and the whole Robinhood situation. Which you guys think Robinhood was bad because they took away the buy button? Wait until they take away the sell button. Yeah, at least they gave you the option to get out. Yeah, wait till you lose. Well, yeah, wait to see that scenario. Oh, we took away the sell button so it doesn't crash the stock while someone else is selling. Ooh, you guys would be mad. Portnoy is buying a bunch of AMC and GME. Sweet. I don't know how good he is at the whole market thing. Didn't he tweet this is just like a game? I also know who's the guy with the sunglasses? Tate. So I think he's buying a whole bunch. He's trying to take full advantage of this attention. Still learning, but I followed you on the 100 shares at 29 and then selling a covered call at 29, collecting 640 per contract. But just kept them thinking the play was let it expire Friday. Well, if you do, right, you make $640. You put up 2,900 and you made 640. Not a bad trade. In fact, if you tell me anytime I have to put up, I'll call it $3,000, but I make $600, I'm taking that trade 1,000 times out of 1,000 times. Why wouldn't you? You'd be silly not to. This one I'm doing a whole lot more, just dancing around. A lot of it might stem from FOMO, trying to take advantage of every penny I can while trying to cover myself without hindering any other trades. All right, but you saw where I just drew this zone. Hopefully, if we can actually just get above that, if we can close. I think if we're even closing above the 60s, we're probably going for it. If we can get a close above 70, just $70 in general, if we were to push up a daily and close above that, that point I think we might send it a bit higher. I couldn't imagine being short this right now and thinking I'll ride this out after what happened last time. No way. Maybe you gave it the benefit of the doubt one day. You're puckered up a little bit right now. I'd be out of this thing so fast. The last thing I would want to do, like I've said this before, as much as I poke fun at Wall Street bets, if they ever had one chief to the tribe, they would actually kill it. They could move some stuff, but everyone's got their own opinion. Everyone's trying to be the all-star. If they ever just had one person leading the charge, they could probably move some stuff around. So shout out to making a whole bunch of money on that off of very little dollars. Let's talk about the money I didn't make today. As far as the dollar goes, let's get into US dollar, Japanese yen. Nothing. I'm short this. It's a little bit up, so down a little bit there. Bitcoin hanging out. Shout out to all those Bitcoin bulls. Gosh, and you guys know this. I can't wait to troll a very specific couple people. On Power Zone Trading, if you're on that YouTube channel, somebody tried to tell me like they were pretty sarcastic, and they tagged me in a post right before right here, right before this red candle. I said I'm going to buy more at 50, and they were very offended by that. And so they tried to troll me right at this peak when this was a green candle, and I'm waiting for a full breakdown, and then I'm like, come again? What was that? I am going to tag him until he does reply. And I can't wait. I'm literally just waiting for that. S&P, so much for that whole correction thing. We dropped 5%, already back up. We even sneezed tomorrow. We'll be at all-time highs. Absolutely ridiculous. We had PPI data. That was the red candle here. We actually sold off pretty decently. I told my chat I was going to delete that zone. Sorry. Just didn't get around to it. And the market makers just didn't get the heads up from me. So they thought we were holding that zone. Pushed it right back up. Are there going to be sellers right up here? I'm sure. Probably a bunch of shorts right here. When you have this all-time high scenario, just know that a lot of people are probably short with a stop right above there because everyone the risk will just favor the downside instead. So it's almost textbook. You'll get an order to push it just a little bit higher. Those stops tag sends it a little bit higher. So if you're going to go short, just be prepared for that so you're not one of those people. We do have CPI tomorrow. Now, I am curious. I'll be on the lookout for if this is I call it the volleyball spike. When there's two sets of news, like news comes out, then Powell talks after, and you just get once, because in volleyball, you got to set it, and then you spike that thing right back down. So I am short. Let's get to the NASDAQ. Expected moves, we're doing nothing. Okay, so I'm short. We actually did close outside of that range. I added on to my shorts at the end of the day, and I did that for not too average down. I think it's incredibly silly when people do that. Again, it's like getting mugged, and the person says, "Give me your wallet," and then you offer them your phone. You're like, hang on a second, I got the brand new iPhone. Keys are in my back pocket. Did you want the rest, or did you just want my wallet? Adding on, dumb. But just for the sake of doing it because you're red. But would I have gone short regardless, whether I was in it or not? It's kind of always my question. The answer is yes. So I did add on. So if we do sell off tomorrow, to be honest, it's probably going to be one of those trades where I get out and I'm just less red. So pull back into that zone would be cool. An absolute meltdown and breakdown would be phenomenal. Then I would just make, a whole bunch of money. I like coming on here saying that a lot better than I do. I took an L because I was short the market and it went up. But that's kind of where I stand right now, almost at all-time highs. I think I'm done shorting the market in general. Plenty of short plays over here and in here. So this is the first time I've really probably taken an L on this. And I say that a lot. Like, what's the worst that could happen? You bought the peak, you shorted that at the wrong time. Now I'm short, kind of playing this trend until you take that loss, and then it's time to turn around. So that's what I'll do. So hopefully this pulls back. I make money on the shorts or break even or maybe just less red. That'd be cool. We'll see how it pans out. A red candle like this tomorrow, and I am green. At that point, I'm also buying the dip. At this point, I think it would be nuts to see us go from here to here, up to here, and then back down. We could pull back down to that zone. No muss, no fuss. That'd be just fine. Bulls are just fine. It would just be a buy the dip scenario. I do see Miss Rachel in here. It's the first time for her on this stream. Rachel, which one are you on? Is it Don Fron Trading or Power Zone? Pin, where I see pin is almost to all-time lows. Well, there's a lot of people that watch the Power Zone channel that might be in pin. And you might have seen me in the comments because, on Power Zone Trading, it used to be Brad, and then Brad Nye, and then he's just nowhere to be found. I do think he hasn't told me, but I think we officially got that he's done with stocks in general. Uh, but if you guys remember, I said I like DraftKings. He liked Penn. Just saying. Let's compare the two. Let's see. The Russell. I guess you just have to be bullish this. Everything about that just looks bullish. I wouldn't even short it. Brad's place. Short Palantir 16. Still plenty of move. Let's check out Penn. Yeah, like I told you guys, as far as the markets go, nothing. We're gonna have some data tomorrow. It's gonna be a reaction. Probably not gonna last long. We're starting to break away from the letters, CPI, PPI. It's gonna be amazing when we finally do. And maybe you're new to stocks. You guys think that actually moves the market. Ask anyone that was trading in 2017, 18, 19, 20 before the pandemic. Each year has its own themes. There was the pot pandemic, or not pandemic. Pot stocks had a theme, and then there was SPACs, there was EVs. We're in an AI theme right now. Each year kind of has its own theme. But during that, the whole pandemic, that news became a thing. I've been doing this for 11 years now. You guys want to know how many times I've worried about CPI and PPI? Like, I don't worry about that at all. I watch it when it comes to Forex positions, not anything to do with the market. So when I say we're starting to break away, I'm pretty pumped for that because it's kind of annoying. All right, so pin banging. All right, this is what happens when a company does zero advertising. That's why Brad liked it. And still, like I said, it's not Tesla. You're not Elon. Like Tesla doesn't pay for advertising. I think they've tried it. Don't try to quote me on that. But you either need someone like Elon or you need to pay for advertising. That's why there's DraftKings, the grow at all cost measure. They do pay for advertising. Everybody knows who DraftKings is. They're performing a lot better. 2021 hype, they sucked it all out. This one's growing back. Penn never did. This will always be a good example. There's the real world and then there's the stock world. But when you have things that just fundamentally don't make sense, but that stock is pushing up, you can kind of only stay in la la land for so long, and eventually things do catch up. Speaking of Tesla, didn't have a pretty strong day. Everything looks so little compared to to GameStop. Tesla did have a decent day, getting outside the expected move. Got right to that yellow zone, selling off a little bit. Hang on, let's do one more thing. If you're following the growth account, you're following the plays. What'd you guys think about that alert? This had pushed up. We sold the 23 strike call against our shares right here, right at the peak. I don't think I have to worry about that. I think we're going to be fine there. I don't think it's pushing to 23. But the one thing we also have is Hood. Now we have a 1750 strike sold. So our average cost on Hood, and by our, I mean mine, if you just agreed with all the plays because I post them when I take them, your account might look very similar to mine. It's not a call out service though. Your average cost on Hood, I think, is in the 14s. So we're doing fine. I gotta stop saying we. The 1750 call I have sold against it. We collected 30. I collected $30 on it. We sold the 8. I'm really struggling with this whole we thing. Anyway, if you go to my Patreon and follow that, I post everything that I do in this account. Again, we started with 0. I think we're up 40 something percent this year. So I sold the 18 strike on earnings, which is fine. Didn't go anywhere. Collected $63 on that, and then collected another $30 on the 1750 strike, bringing the average cost even lower. I'm going to let these shares go. So come Friday, if we are still above 1750, I will sell my shares at 1750, keep all that money. And I haven't decided if I'm just going to buy an extra 100 shares of Palantir or if I'm going to sell a Palantir put while selling a call against our shares and kind of attack it from both angles. Um, what did we do again? We did nothing. Don is an AI robot. He just short circuited. I really did. Cody says you're not good at this. I'm really not. But I will be really good at court if we ever go there. I promise. At that point, I'm there to troll and devastate your life. And so legally, guys, it's not financial advice, which is why I have to just say even though I post everything that I do. I missed the Palantir alert. By the time I checked, it was at 7. Still could have got it. So that being said, that's my thoughts on this for the growth account. What would you guys do? Let's get a poll. I'm about to wrap this up. So your question to answer down below in the comments is: do you just buy an extra 100 shares or do you sell the puts? Selling puts is cool. It's free internet money, just like selling our calls. But if it does take off, we collected a little bit compared to what we would have on shares. So anyway, I'm gonna wrap it up here. I'll see you, beautiful people. Midship, you'll see me in 2 seconds. Everyone else, you will see me Thursday. Yes. Anyway, have a good one. What are we selling puts on? Yeah, Palantir. Actually, if this video gets 1,000 views, I'll do my mentorship live on Thursday. So it'll just be one big video. So if you're curious about that, send it. Anyway, I'll see you guys in the next one.